Okay, I wanted to shoot a quick video here because I was answering a question for a friend. Shout out to Greg Hickman. And I realized that this is probably something that most people either don't fully utilize or don't fully understand because it has to do with some of the timers in the campaign builder. So here's the scenario. We've got people registering for a webinar. And the webinar happens on the last Sunday of the month. It's always on the last Sunday of the month. And we want to do a series of reminders. So like the Friday before, the Saturday before, the morning of, an hour before, 15 minutes before, and then at the time of the webinar. You know, they're opting in. We want to make sure they don't miss this. So we've got all these reminders set up. And then here's what I've got set up. Rather than build it in multiple sequences or multiple campaigns, I built an independent line of logic for each reminder. So the way that we did it was the delay timer actually allows you to select, I could say no delay, and then run on a day of the week, and then choose the day of the week and which occurrence in that month. Okay, so I can say wait until the last Friday of any month and run between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m., something like that. And then I've got the same thing for Saturday. So if they enter this sequence on a Thursday, right, and the last day of the month is Monday, they're going to get this email, then they're going to get this email, and then Sunday morning at 8 a.m. they'll get this email, Sunday evening at 8 p.m. they'll get this one, Sunday at 8:45 they'll get this one. Seems like a lot of reminders, I know, but at the time of the webinar they'll get this one. Okay, and you could mix it up. These could be HTTP posts triggering off SMS messages or whatever reminder you wanted. And then here's the key. We have a tag here at the time of the webinar stopping this sequence. Okay, so that tag is pulling them out. The webinar took place, it occurred. And the reason that's important to have is because there are a couple of scenarios where this setup won't work seamlessly. So if the last day of the month is a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, we're going to be just fine. But if the last day of the month happens to be a Friday, well, then all of these are going to take place. And then, 6 days later or 5 days later, this will take place. And 6 days later, that'll take place. Or if the last day of the month is a Friday or a Saturday, right? So if it's one of those 2 days, then the logic's kind of off because the last Thursday, the last Friday, the last Saturday take place after the last Sunday. So what I did was included a tag at the time of the webinar to pull them out using this goal so that we don't have to worry about either of these going out unless it happens before the webinar. Now, here's the catch. This happens every month. So once somebody is registered for the webinar circuit, we need to loop them back into it the following month. So I can't use this tag to loop because if we loop them immediately, well, they've still got the last Friday of the month or last Saturday of the month a few days later. So what we're doing is we're waiting in this webinar follow-up, and I'm going to use a delay timer. But this time, instead of saying a specific day of the week, I'm going to say a specific day of the month. Okay, so I'll say day of the month, and then you're allowed to select any day of the month or last, and I'm just going to wait until the first, right? And then I can apply my loop tag. So this one would be just a loop tag. There we go. And save. And that tag is going to not only pull them out of that sequence, but also put them back into the initial sequence. So loop here. And then I can copy that and put it over here as an entry point. So now when the webinar takes place, it drops them in here. And on the first of the month, which could be the next day, or it could be 5 or 6 days later at most, it reapplies that loop tag and goes in here and drops them back in. Now, the last thing we need to do is remove this tag and remove that tag so that they can happen again. So we can actually do that immediately when they enter here. So I'll go ahead and grab that tag process, drop it in, and we'll just choose remove, and we'll say loop. And I forget what the other one was, webinar tag, or I don't know if I actually created it. But there you go. So I remove both of those tags so that when they go through this a second time, they can re-achieve this goal and re-achieve this goal and this goal. So this gives me kind of an evergreen process where somebody enters this, and then each month it does the same recurring reminder sequence. And you can even, depending on what your process looks like, you can include the call-in link or, merge in whatever the webinar information is, whatever pieces of info they need to make this happen. So hopefully this opened your eyes to a few new functionalities that those timers might have and different applications for your business. Good luck.